Hi, everyone. How are you? I hope everything is well with you and yours. And it's hard to believe we're approaching Holy Week already. I don't know about you, but for me, this is my favorite time of the year. First of all, I love spring, which begins, I believe, tomorrow. But I do love the whole Ash Wednesday, Lent build up to Easter. And uh, I don't know, it's always been my favorite. And I'm just excited that it's coming. I just treasure it and savor it, filled with lots of traditions that we have and lots of the worship is just the ultimate, the penultimate of worship. And well, it is because it's Easter and what happened. So um, I met with the kids yesterday and I would say summarize it before I even begin to tell you that it was a good lesson. I thought it was solid. What I did with them, though, we kind of reviewed from the week before the whole idea of a grain of wheat must fall to the ground and dying to self. What does that mean? What's Paschal mystery? I think that's a difficult concept, at times, and even the theology of it. How does that work? What does it mean? And what does it mean to die to yourself? And of course, a sixth grader, that's the last thing they want to hear, maybe, because it's still about them. But as long as they're hearing it and they understand it, and it's something I think, go through many times in our lives. This whole dying to ourselves and the Paschal mystery keeps repeating itself in our own lives as well. So trying to explain that concept, I think they get it, but certainly we will have to review it a few times, and they're going to have to live it. So when they'll live it, I hope they remember it uh, as a comfort, and knowing that Jesus already went through this, and that so do we in ways that are different than Jesus, but we certainly go through the Paschal mystery many times in our lives. So once we did that, we talked about this coming of Holy Week, which begins with Palm Sunday, this coming Sunday. And if you get online, if you get into the program, and you see where I do the summary for the gospel every week, into the lesson planning, there is a link this time. It's embedded in that summary, and it's a meditation on scripture, the scripture of Palm Sunday. And I wanted to concentrate on Palm Sunday. This Sunday is a big one. It's Palm Sunday, it's Passion Sunday. There's a lot going on in one liturgy. But I wanted to concentrate on Palm Sunday and the meaning of it, because we are going to have Good Friday, and I already outlined some things for them to do on those particular days of the Triduum, and so that they can take those days, and I'll be kind of remind them as we go along. But I wanted to talk about Palm Sunday. And so I decided to write a meditation for them. And Saint Ignatius, I think, would call this use of imagining contemplation. It existed before Ignatius, but it's something that we do where we put ourselves into the biblical scene. And I wasn't sure how they would take that, but I know for me personally, when I pray at times and using this form of prayer, it just makes sense to me. Um, and it makes sense in that when things in life happen, you can imagine then what was going on in the scriptures, the stories of the scriptures. For example, if you've ever been with someone who's dying, uh, and I have been, and you're holding their hand, and all of a sudden I remember feeling, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm standing at the foot of the cross. So if you don't know your scripture, not familiar with it, you couldn't find that to be a sense of comfort, a sense of connection with those who've done this before, especially out of scripture. Or if you're going through a difficult time, a time of anxiety or worry or whatever, it could be something else. The scripture of, if I could only touch the hem of his cloak. So these things, we have to make that scripture alive, not only in learning it, but also in living it and making those connections with those people who have, I said, lived before us with this, and just to picture that in the scripture. So I wanted to do this meditation. I have used this form, this tool before with my daughter when she was younger, and I used to teach her home group catechesis with her friends. And I remember doing it a few times, and they really enjoyed it. So it's there. You will find the link in the as I said, within the text for this coming Sunday for Palm and Passion Sunday, and use it if you'd like to. It's a different form. And if you have younger children, or just make it age appropriate if you'd like to use it that way. But it kind of gets us into the uh, sense of being in scripture. It's like when St. Francis created the first creche so that we might feel that we were there at the time. This is the same thing. And so we did it. And I made sure we had a very quiet place. And I told them last week, I said, next week we're going to do something a little different, but we need some really quiet time. We need a quiet place that we don't feel anybody else in the house is going to interrupt, because this is important. Well, they already knew that. They already told the family, listen, we're doing something special with grandma. So you can't be here. So they're very invitational. But so we did. And I read it to them, and they didn't move. And then I asked them, and you could do this too as well. From the beginning, you could do your own. But I asked them afterwards, what was that like? They loved it. They loved the idea that they could imagine and use their sense of imagination. Uh, think about them in the place of scripture, in the biblical passages. What were you wearing? What were what does it smell like? What is it? What do you hear? What are you hearing? So I wrote it through the lens of a sixth grader, and what they might be thinking if they were there waiting for Jesus to enter Jerusalem on the colt. And so I hope you enjoyed. I hope it's good for you as it's good for you as it was for us yesterday. And I think I'm going to use it more often because they want that. But I'm also thinking that I want them eventually to do it for themselves. So we're going to wait for another. I'm not sure when we'll do this. I don't want to do too close to now. Maybe we'll do it after Easter. I'm not sure. As those beautiful readings post Easter, maybe we'll do it then. But have them write it and use their own imagination. Here's a story. Here you are in the middle of, say, the upper room during Pentecost. What did you feel like? What was that? What was going on? What do you hear? What do you smell? So using our senses and putting ourselves in scripture is a great learning tool. And as I said, it really serves us outside of the environment of a lesson. It's a reality. It could be incorporated into our own lives. And this is what we want to do. We want to live it as well as learn it and love it, right? So I also decided, well, before I tell you what I decided, what I decided, I talked to them about it. I said, this is the year we go to church on the holy days this week. And whether I take you or your parents take you, it's going to happen. They're old enough to not just read about it or hear about it. And I know I'm sure they've been before, maybe not. I don't know. But I know this is the time. They're in sixth grade. It's time to go. And we talked about Holy Thursday. We talked about Good Friday. So we've made a date, and they will probably maybe come to my church, because especially for uh, Good Friday, we have the youth group does an enactment of the Stations of the Cross. I think they would enjoy that. So so look around and see what's going on. And if they're near you, if either you take them or you go with them with the parents, invite the parents. But I have to have that discussion with their parents, which I don't think they're going to disagree. The kids want to do it. So, I mean, we're starting the week off with a bang. Next Sunday, they're coming to cook Easter cookies, bake Easter cookies with me. So then we'll take it from, that's how our Holy Week will carry on. So it was good, and they were open to it, and it was a new way of learning. And at the end, I found the song "Jerusalem, My Destiny." That's one of my favorites. I think I want to have that played at the recessional of my own funeral one day. And I always use the lyrics, make sure that they see the lyrics as well, so that it becomes. And then we discussed that song. Why is Jerusalem the destiny? What are they talking about? Could there be symbolism? Could it be heaven we're talking about, the afterlife, being with God? What is it? So all different ideas were coming in from them. That's why it's good to have the lyrics. Um, and I know, what are the hills of Jerusalem? I set my eyes on your hills. Jerusalem's my destiny. Um, and that to know we never walk alone. The lyrics are beautiful. So there was a lot of richness in that song. So we were able to discuss as well. So that's what's happening. That was what was happening yesterday. It was good. They enjoyed it. I really felt like it was they were, really tuned in. And of course I bring the enthusiasm. Oh my God, it's Holy Week. it's coming. This is the big one. And they get it. So that's what happened. And so hopefully this week we'll start with, like I said, baking cookies on Palm Sunday, and then throughout the week we will uh you know celebrate these holy days. I haven't done it yet, but I want to take them to see the movie about Mother Cabrini. I think it's something, whenever there's something like that, I think it's good to take a little relax and let's watch a movie as well. So maybe we'll do that after the cookies. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, be well. And as you prepare for these holiest of holy times in our church and in our lives, in terms of Easter and what the meaning of Easter is, um, and I will see you next week. Have a blessed week. Take care.